Hello, I'm Alison Lagrange coming to you from Durban, South Africa. Today we have a special show for you, Resurgent Africa. Amid the coups and the crises, there are many positive stories from Africa that often get overlooked, but not on this show. On the show today, meet the South Sudan footballer who is breaking boundaries and find out all about virtual reality in Kenya. All this and much more. This is Resurgent Africa, where we give you a glimpse into the lives of the people who call this vibrant continent home.
With wide smiles on their faces and hearts full of excitement, these students carried cardboard boxes from a vehicle to their village hall. Inside these boxes was something these youngsters had neither seen nor heard of. As they sat on the floor in rows and were handed white-coloured tech devices, they didn't know what to expect. So, the organizer, Paul Simon Wayaki Wahinga, explained how to use the devices. Once they dived in, they were teleported to another world. Wayaki's organization is bringing the power of virtual reality to youth in remote Kenyan villages. And this group of youngsters in Kenya's Kiambu experienced the world of VR for the first time.
This is my first time to see a VR set. I'm so amazed by the many opportunities and I look forward to the future knowing that I will earn a living through it. And I've seen that I can also travel to another country when I'm still in Africa. That is so wonderful and I'm so amazed. I can actually see the space and all the stars. Yeah, that's a very good thing.
The lack of technological know-how in Kenya's rural areas pushed Wayaki to take up this project, where he teaches locals all about virtual reality technology via hands-on sessions. He carries boxes full of futuristic goggles to impoverished communities. He says technology will bring stories of these rural communities to the metaverse, which otherwise would never come out. Not just that, Wayaki says technology would bring economic empowerment and financial wellness to communities struggling to survive in rural areas.
Africa VR Campus and Center is an organization that is dedicated to training VR, XR, AR, but not in shiny workshops and urban areas, but in the grassroots rural Africa, where we come with our gadgets, internet solutions, and we connect the community and train them what is VR, XR, AR. And the reason why we do so, of course, is for socio-economic empowerment, because they too have stories to tell in the metaverse. They too have got their own local grassroots industries that can be, incorporated in the metaverse, and that brings economic empowerment and financial wellness to them. Sort of bringing the Sustainable Development Goals closer to them using the power of VR, XR, and AR.
But Wayaki's path has many hurdles. Some villages don't have the infrastructure or internet coverage to host his sessions. Moreover, locals in many communities see the new technology as strange and suspicious. Despite this, he's determined to move forward.
Taking new tech in rural Africa has its own set of challenges. We are talking about infrastructure challenges, internet challenges, sometimes even the community looking at this new tech like, what is this? And so the absorption of it sometimes becomes a hindrance when you're trying to take it to the grassroots. So all these sort of challenges, and sometimes even the funding to even take this outreach into the villages sometimes is not there.
After a short training session on virtual reality and other technologies, those interested are given an opportunity to join Wayaki's team. This allows many of the youth in rural areas to start making a living.
I have been in Metaverse for 3 years in Wayaki's program. So I personally, it has benefited me a lot since we have gone to universities to teach students how to use it. Since we are only Form 4 leavers, I feel special and I feel that I am an important girl. Also, it has also mentored me because I've learned a lot of things. I also earn a living there. When we go to an event, we get paid and it helps me to buy things that I don't have.
Experts in the field are lauding the efforts made by Wayaki's organization. They say while it's a good start, young Kenyans also need training to make VR content themselves if they want to fully experience the economic benefits.
I think going to the slums and demystifying the value of the technology is a start. It's a very good start. It's very important for you to reduce the mental sort of barriers to entry of the technology by doing that. But of course, it has to also be accompanied by different strategies. For instance, just talking about it is not enough. Training individuals on how they can be able to create the content, not just consuming it. Because it's important for these individuals to understand that this technology is highly, it can change our lives in so very many ways, whether or not looking at it as a social dimension or economical dimension. And I feel for the young people on a grassroots level, it's very important for them to also be given the tools to build the technology.
While that may seem to be a distant dream, Wayaki and his team don't see it as an impossible one. For now, they are sowing the seeds of a tech transformation in rural Kenya, and the benefits will be reaped by the country's future generations. Women today, whether in developed or developing nations, are increasingly empowered to live life on their own terms. Even though the weight of patriarchy still lingers, their voices grow stronger with each passing day. Yet, for many women in conflict-torn countries like South Sudan, the road to freedom and self-expression remains fraught with challenges. South Sudan has endured years of strife, with people losing their homes, livelihoods and loved ones. But as peace gradually takes root, a new dawn is emerging, offering opportunities for women who are ready to reclaim their dreams. One such trailblazer is Filda Bandas, a pioneering female footballer and the nation's first left-footed player at the national level, a distinction she wears with immense pride. Bandas, alongside a small but determined group of women, is leading the charge for future generations of female athletes. In a society where sports have long been dominated by men, she is breaking barriers and shattering cultural norms in South Sudan. Her journey to success in the male-dominated world of football has been nothing short of extraordinary. Her talent was on full display during an all-female football match organized by the United Nations Mission in South Sudan, a powerful event aimed at fostering unity, especially among young people. As Bandas shined, her performance lit the way for other women dreaming of a life in sports.
It was very, very important for us to play them and to have a friendly with them. Of course, they beat us 4-1, but the essence was not about winning. The essence was about communicating messages of peaceful coexistence with the communities here, messaging about our zero tolerance on sexual exploitation and abuse and sexual harassment, messaging about advocacy for the prevention of gender-based violence and especially targeting young girls, and also messages of peace.
But behind the spotlight and the inspiring moments on the field, Bandas's life is a testament to resilience and sacrifice.
Yes, it's another goal.
By day, she works as a gas station attendant, juggling the demands of her job with the responsibilities of motherhood and family. She lives with her child at her sister's house, supporting not only her own family, but her extended one as well. Despite the challenges, Bandas never gives up.
My plan is also to go and play outside country. Outside country, that's my big dream and plan right now. That's why I don't want to give up.
Her determination to succeed in both her personal and professional life is driven by a deep desire to inspire other women.
For my country, I want peace and love. They should not to sit down. There are some other parents, they don't want their girls to play football, but I'm just requesting them. They should allow their girls to come and play. They should come and play so that we raise up our flag together.
Through her tireless efforts, she shows them that success, no matter how difficult the path, is within reach. Filterbandas stands as a beacon of hope, proving that with courage and persistence, even the tallest barriers can be broken and the brightest dreams can come true. In the dusty villages of western Morocco, hope has become as scarce as water. The parched earth cracks beneath the feet of people who are wandering the streets, clutching empty buckets. Their eyes scan the horizon in vain. No clouds, no relief. Just the relentless glare of the sun and the harsh reality of drought. In the fishing village of Bedouza, survival has taken on a new meaning. The proverb, "necessity is the mother of invention," rings truer than ever here. Faced with the devastation of their land and the absence of groundwater, the people of Bedouza have turned to the unthinkable, the Atlantic Ocean. Thanks to innovation and desperation, the salty waves that lap at their shores are no longer just a reminder of what they can't drink. Instead, they represent a lifeline. Through mobile desalination stations, small compact units known as monoblocks, the salty ocean water is slowly being transformed into drinkable water.
We have had water from Bedouza for 35 years, but for the past 3 or 4 months, the water supply has decreased in our region and in the city of Safi. However, with the seawater desalination process, we have started benefiting from water delivered by tanker trucks. Thank God, things are going well today.
Since 2023, Morocco has installed 44 of these portable desalination units. While they can't restore the once fertile lands or replenish the rivers, they do quench the thirst of thousands. These stations have become a beacon of hope in a landscape where desperation was once the only constant. The monoblocks are delivering water not just to Bedouza, but to the remote corners of the country where drought has tightened its grip like never before. The groundwater is gone, the wells are dry, and the only respite comes in the form of tanker trucks delivering the desalinated water. For the residents who receive this liquid salvation, these trucks are nothing short of a miracle.
The 3 plants are located in the province of Safi, specifically in the communes of Bedouza, Yer, and Machate. They have a combined daily capacity of 1,800 cubic meters per day, which practically covers the needs of 45,000 residents across all the rural areas of these 3 communes.
Morocco's authorities are doing what they can, but with the country on the brink of environmental collapse, plans are underway to build 219 additional desalination stations. The situation in rural Morocco is dire. Water levels in the dams have plummeted and underground reservoirs have been exhausted. Nearly 3 million people are in urgent need of drinking water, and the crisis shows no signs of abating. The World Resources Institute warns that by 2040, Morocco could face extremely high water stress, exacerbated by a projected 11% drop in rainfall and rising temperatures. Already, the country's vital agricultural sector, which employs about a third of its working population, is under threat. Official figures suggest that the area under cultivation is shrinking. From 3.7 million hectares in 2023, it's now an estimated 2.5 million hectares in 2024. The land, once bountiful, is withering under the heat of climate change. For now, the waves of the Atlantic continue to offer hope. But will they be enough to save a nation on the edge of drought-induced disaster? Morocco's future hangs in the balance. With the promise of more desalination stations as a fragile thread keeping thirst at bay, the question is not just whether Morocco can endure this crisis, but whether the world is ready to confront the growing threat of water scarcity before it's too late. Najin and Fatou, this mother-daughter duo is the last of the world's northern white rhinos. They are too old to bear pregnancy and often get too sick to even eat their regular meals. After Najin and Fatu, the northern white rhino could join the ranks of the dodo and Tasmanian wolf to never be seen on Earth ever again. The northern white rhinos once ruled the grasslands of Central and Northern Africa, but decades of hunting for their coveted horns has reduced their number to just 2 in one country, Kenya, where they live under armed protection 24/7. But thousands of kilometers away in Germany, scientists are brimming with confidence that Najin and Fatu will not go down in history as the world's last northern white rhinos. They claim to have successfully tested an in vitro fertilization method which holds the promise to increase their number from 2 to a few and from few to many.
We also have given the proof that the embryo transfer of a lab-produced embryo in a southern white rhino worked. So we produced a proven pregnancy in Africa with an embryo which was generated here in Europe with European parents, and this embryo go to a nice little rhino.
Southern white rhinos are a subspecies of northern white rhinos. There are 20,000 of them in Africa. Yet, not long ago, they were thought to be extinct. But in 1895, a small population of around 100 southern white rhinos was discovered in South Africa. Thanks to conservation efforts, the southern white rhinos bounced back from that cliff of extinction and returned to their grassland glory. Scientists in this lab are upbeat that their efforts will push northern white rhinos back to their wild African splendor as well. They are set to implant a northern white rhino embryo inside a southern white rhino surrogate mother. The first embryo transfer could happen as early as this year. And if things go as per plan, northern white rhinos could be released into the wild in 20 years' time.
Today we stand here and can say we have 33 northern white rhino embryos, pure northern white rhino embryos. And these embryos derived from 2 different fathers. So that is really, really good news, because the quality of these embryos is excellent, and that means we may have 10, 15 offspring out of these embryos when we start with the embryo transfer program.
Far away from Berlin, here in Kenya's Olpejeta Conservancy, the caretaker of the last northern white rhinos is also bracing for what looks like a likely scientific breakthrough.
Can I assure you is that last year we had to conduct an experiment of a southern white rhino embryo, and it was successful. So that gives us more hope that we can still bring the northern white rhinos back from extinction.
The only possible stumble in this race to save northern white rhinos could be a lack of funds.
Governmental grant we got from the German government is finishing, and so that is a really important point. You can have a car, but if you have no fuel, you can't go anywhere. That is it's an important element, the resources, because doing something completely new, developing things from scratch, technologies which you can't buy somewhere else, then you need resources. You need the freedom to do the research, and you need the resources and ambitious partners to follow you.
The message from this Herculean effort to revive northern white rhino populations is as loud as these trumpet calls. The human race is the chief destroyer of Earth's biodiversity and the leading cause of unprecedented loss of wildlife in recent decades. But some of its brightest minds can still repair the damage and take parts of planet Earth back to its erstwhile glory. Shots ringing out in the air, violence and a wave of fear. Not so long ago, this is what dominated the lives of people in the Kafolo town in Ivory Coast. Jihadists hit Kafolo in June 2020. Then they struck it again in March 2021. For months, it resembled a town in distress, but not anymore. Now it's buzzing with life. Kafolo's youngsters are walking down a promising road. With the government's support, they are learning new skills. And one after another, they are touching the milestones of employment. The final destination is prosperity. Thanks to Ivory Coast's efforts to boost security on one hand and tackling youth employment on the other, peace is making its much-awaited return to this town. The jihadist groups reigning supreme right across the border in Burkina Faso look defeated on this side. Restaurants, salons and garages have reopened. Locals now go about their business as usual. A secondary school opened in this village just last year. In early 2022, Ivory Coast launched a youth program targeting youngsters in the northern regions bordering Mali and Burkina Faso, where several armed groups operate. The goal is to train youngsters with an employable skill so that they are less tempted to join militant groups as well as the illegal gold miners. 18-year-old Kambire Koko is one such youngster. In a region where jihadist groups once recruited young people, he represents the hope for a better future. Instead of wielding a gun, Koko is learning to cut out metal window frames. He earns 30,000 francs a month, or about $50, from this government apprenticeship support scheme. He hopes to set up his own workshop soon.
Learning a trade is better than hanging around and then someone will come along and give you 500,000 francs and a motorcycle and send you to places you don't know.
Koko is referring to the way armed groups operate in the region. They hand new militancy recruits a gun, a motorbike and some money. But the Ivorian government is arming youngsters with skills to replace the terror of gunshots with signs of achievable prosperity.
If young people don't work, bandits can easily recruit them. Because they have nothing to do and that's it. He can go and get involved in that and maybe he'll earn a few coins in his pocket. That's all there is to it. If he doesn't have a motorbike, we'll tell him, oh, we'll give you a free motorbike. Inevitably he's going to take the bike. After that it's a problem.
Many in this town have received loans from the government to start their business and to be the creators of their own prosperity. As per the government, nearly 54,000 young people have received support for employment in northern Ivory Coast.
With the 30,000 francs I get at the end of the month since I started this program, it helps me buy food in the morning and at noon. It really gives me courage, and in the morning I arrive even before my boss.
People in Kafolo say they are no longer afraid of jihadist attacks. More soldiers patrol its streets as youngsters go about pursuing their goals.
A lot of young people went to workshops, training courses, apprenticeships. There were AVECs, which stands for Credit and Savings Associations, which helped to change the situation. The military, the defense, since then we've had a lot of soldiers who look after us, and that's given us confidence. We're no longer afraid.
As guns reign supreme just across the border in Burkina Faso, the roses of employment wield their influence in this Ivory Coast town. Employment and security are acting like a double-edged sword to slay the terror that once kept this town on edge. The hope for a better future is gradually replacing the terror of a violent past.
And that's all we have time for on the show for today. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to First Post.
Firstpost decodes the U.S. election, explains how America chooses its president, your primer on the race to the White House, everything you need to know about how America votes, and its global implications. U.S. Election Explained, every Monday and Thursday only on Firstpost.